In this video, I would like to talk with you about the topic of imagining scenes. And I got a question in the community tab here on YouTube, and someone asked the question, should I only imagine one scene that implies the fulfillment of my desire? Is it also okay if I have multiple scenes? And I want to cover that question right now because I think honestly it's very important, especially if you do resonate with this core approach of Neville's teachings, right? One of his core approaches is, for those of you who are not into all of that right now, just quickly summarize, one of Neville's core approaches is that we ask ourselves, what is my desire, right? What is it that I want right now? What do I perceive that is arising within me? What change is it that I want to encounter in my circumstances? And then we ask ourselves, what would imply to me subjectively that this change has already happened, right? What would imply to me that I already have this car? What would imply to me that I already have this partner? What would imply to me that, I already have this job, that I already have this successful business, that I made more money, that I have health again, right? What would imply that? And then we have this scene, maybe we find ourselves running in the park again. Maybe we, maybe we get a congratulation from someone, right? Maybe we do something differently in our day-to-day life, right? Maybe we see something differently. And then the third step is basically that we imagine that scene, which we previously figured out that implies the fulfillment for us. And we close our eyes and we go within and we simply experience that scene in the here and now, right? And that scene anchors us in the state of the wish fulfilled. And that is a bulletproof frame, right? Again, remember, the key is that you find your way of manifestation, right? There is not my way or the perfect way. There are many ways, and you should find your art of manifestation, right? Your way. And so coming back to the question, right? Scenes, multiple scenes, one scene. I do have so it depends who asks me this question, right? Let's just say someone who is more new to Neville's teachings. I would honestly say to stay with one scene, simply to practice keeping one's attention on a certain imaginary experience, right? Because when we have multiple scenes, let's just say we have 3-4 scenes for desire, then for quote unquote beginners or people that are more new to it, it can easily drift off into like daydreaming and fantasizing and, oh yeah, this scene, and then it goes into a mind movie and then that, but it doesn't really create this impression, it doesn't really create this naturalness, it doesn't really create this relief. So that is why my general advice is, if you are more new to it and you haven't really started, imagining a scene, stay with one scene, right? Do one at a time. Don't do 5 scenes, this, and then you have this scene, and you have this scene, and you have this scene, because that's just probably overloading you, that's overwhelming you. So again, that's my subjective personal advice, also from my experience, as it was very easy for me in the beginning to have like one scene that I can always come back to, because I knew, okay, this scene definitely implies that I have already achieved my goal, and then I always come back to this scene. I came back to this scene. The broader advice, right, and the still true advice is that you definitely can have multiple scenes, right? If you want to manifest a car, you can imagine seeing it in your parking lot. You can imagine friends congratulating you. You can imagine holding the car keys, right? All of them imply the same thing, that you now own this car, that this car is now there, that you now have it, right? Just for this car example here. But you see, it's not like it's you can definitely have multiple scenes, and the cool thing with multiple scenes is that you can apply them very dynamically, because maybe at one point you resonate more with this scene, right, with scene number 1, and you like to experience that, but then later this day or the next day, this scene, I don't know, it doesn't give you a thrill, it doesn't excite you, it doesn't give you this relief, and then you simply go to another scene that implies it, right? But again, I would only recommend that when you are a little bit more familiar with the imagining scenes approach, because if you do that in the beginning and you have 5 scenes, then like I said, your attention will drift and you will create mind movies, and you won't be able to hold your attention on a scene and experience it again, and then experience it again, and then experience it again, which really creates this felt real experience. You really start to, from deep within, grow this conviction that, wow, this happened. Because for a conviction, it doesn't need an external experience, right? If I ask you what happens when you jump from a high building, it doesn't need an external experience from you to know something, right? So also a repeated internal experience can lead to a conviction, right? Can lead to a subtle, to first a subtle and then a very strong conviction, self-persuasion, identification with a certain state. And that is, again, what we can do with such a scene. We can anchor us in a certain state, or a certain state of being. I want to be more respected. Well, what would imply that? Well, maybe I would walk in a room and people would walk towards me and approach me and ask me how I'm doing, and ask me if they can do something for me, and ask me how I'm doing. But in that scene implies that I'm acknowledged, that I'm appreciated. So I can experience that right now. I don't need to hope that my world shows me that. No, I can right now go within, close my eyes, and imagine that and experience that. And if I continue to imagine, and if I repeat it, and if I dwell in there, it becomes natural. It takes a tone of naturalness. It takes on the tones of reality. It feels very real, very, yeah, of course, that's who I am. Because you experience it so often, and then you also carry it with you in the world. And that's only one scene, right? So to come back to the question and to conclude this video, because it's a quite easy topic, right? Again, personal preference, right? That's definitely something, personal preference. Have as much scenes as you want. If you start out, I recommend start with one, so that you simply don't overwhelm yourself, and that you can practice keeping your attention on one scene. Once you, in a sense, have, you figured out the jazz, you figured out how to play, right? You became more fluid in your approach, and it's more easy, more natural for you to imagine a scene and experience the wish fulfilled. Then why not adding here and there spontaneously also other scenes, if you want to, that imply the wish fulfilled 100%. It's not that you need to stay with one scene forever. Sometimes it also happens that you start with a scene, but then after a week you realize, wait, this scene, I don't know, like this scene feels boring. This scene doesn't give me the wish fulfillment kind of like sensation any longer, or this scene feels boring, overwhelming. I'm too lazy to do that scene. And then shift it. Then ask yourself, okay, what else would imply that my wish is fulfilled? Find another scene. Find 2 other scenes, right? So keyword is still keeping things dynamic, not using force or effort, and keeping things, and creating your own practice from your own experiences, right? Only take my words and Neville's words so far, right? Don't copy someone. Don't be bound to someone's words and be, oh, this person said I need to do one scene, and then you do it and it absolutely doesn't resonate, but you think, oh, this person said it, so I must do it. No, the goal is that you find your own way of manifesting. There are multiple ways. Everyone has to find their own art of manifesting. And that is it for this video. Leave me your feedback in the comments, right? If you like multiple scenes, if you like one scene, how you find your scenes. If you have more questions, leave all of that in the comments. I read all of them. I do not always reply, but I read all of them. So that's for sure. And I really take that to my heart. And then I make all of these videos out of your feedback and out of the ideas that I get from that. If you need more resources, you want to work with me, check out my free masterclass and check out my program in case you want accountability, a structured system, and like-minded people. And that is a little bit higher of a commitment, right? But if that's not something for you right now, but you still want to benefit from a mini version of my program and the Upgrade to Life community in one place where you can chat with each other, where you can post questions, help each other, and all of that, then go to my website, upgradetolife.com. You will find the inner circle, and you can join that for only $50. So that is it. I speak to you in the next one. Bye, guys.